It was one of those evenings when everything felt heavier than it should. The sun was still hanging low, bleeding gold over the roofs, but all I felt was gray. I just moved into my new place, a quiet neighborhood on the edge of town. The kind where everyone mowed their lawns on Saturdays and waved to each other without really knowing names. For me, it was supposed to be a fresh start. New job, new city, new everything. But instead of feeling alive, I just felt alone. That evening, I dragged an old camping chair onto my porch, sat down, and sighed so deeply it startled the silence. My body ached from unpacking, and my mind from pretending I was fine. That's when I heard her voice. "Need some help getting comfortable?" I looked up, and there she was, my older neighbor, Mrs. Henderson. Gray hair tucked behind her ears, wearing a wide-brimmed hat and gardening gloves. She was holding a tray with 2 glasses of lemonade and a smile that somehow made the air feel lighter. I tried to brush it off. "Oh, I'm okay. Just trying to get settled." She didn't move. "Honey, nobody gets settled sitting on a porch like they're waiting for a bus. Come on. I've got a real chair and better company." Before I could argue, she was already walking toward her front yard. Something about her energy, the quiet confidence, the warmth, pulled me along. Her backyard was something out of a dream. Flowers everywhere, a little fountain bubbling, wind chimes dancing softly. She motioned for me to sit on a cushioned swing. "Now," she said, pouring lemonade into frosted glasses. "Tell me what's weighing on you." I hesitated. I wasn't the kind of person who opened up easily. But something about the way she said it, like she'd already seen through the cracks, made it impossible to stay guarded. So I told her. About the move. The breakup that led to it. The job that felt more like survival than passion. The nights that stretched endlessly, filled with silence and second-guessing. She didn't interrupt once. Just listened. Really listened. When I finished, she leaned back and said, "You know, you remind me of my son." I blinked. "Your son?" She nodded slowly, her smile dimming. "He moved out west years ago. Wanted a life that felt bigger. Said he needed space. I told him to take care of himself, but sometimes I wonder if he ever found what he was looking for." She stared into the distance for a moment before continuing, softer now. "People think comfort comes from having everything figured out. But really, it's about letting someone else care when you can't." The words hit me harder than I expected. Maybe because I hadn't realized how much I needed to hear them. We sat in silence for a while, just listening to the fountain and the faint hum of the evening. She started showing me her plants, each one with a story. The rosebush that bloomed every year on her late husband's birthday. The mint she planted because her son used to love mint tea. And as she spoke, I realized that this backyard wasn't just a garden, it was her way of keeping love alive. Before I left that night, she handed me a small potted plant. "Something to start your own little comfort zone," she said with a wink. I smiled for what felt like the first time in weeks. "Thank you, Mrs. Henderson." She squeezed my hand gently. "Call me Helen. Neighbors don't need titles, just kindness." Over the next few months, Helen became my anchor. She'd wave from her garden every morning, sometimes dropping by with cookies or stories from her wild youth, as she called it. We became unlikely friends, me, the lost newcomer, and her, the wise soul who'd learned to make peace with life's changes. One rainy afternoon, I saw her front light still off. That was unusual. I went over, knocked. No answer. The worry that rose in my chest was instant. I found her sitting quietly by the window, holding a faded photo of her son. She looked up and smiled weakly. "He called today. Said he's coming to visit." Her voice trembled. First time in 10 years. Her eyes shimmered with tears. "I guess when you give kindness long enough, it finds its way back home." I helped her tidy the place, bake cookies, even fix up the old swing he'd once built. And when her son finally arrived, a tall man with the same kind eyes, she introduced me as the neighbor who helped me remember what comfort feels like. That night, watching them laugh together, I realized Helen had done the same for me. Months later, she moved in with her son, leaving me her garden chair and a note that read, "Comfort isn't about where you are, it's about who helps you feel at home. Keep passing it on." I still have that note framed on my wall. And whenever I see a new neighbor struggling to settle in, I find myself saying the same words she said to me that first evening. Want some help getting comfortable? Moral: kindness doesn't have an age, a time, or a reason. Sometimes the smallest gesture, a seat, a sip of lemonade, a moment of listening, can change someone's world.